Hi, it's Jade. Welcome to Polymath Library.
I've been thinking a lot lately about what it means to be me, how any of us defines ourselves. The shows we watch, the habits we have, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the things that make us happy or annoyed. The statements we tell ourselves or hear from others. I'm a loud person. I'm a quiet person. Traits like this. How we have thousands of tiny things that give us a sense of self, but how none of those things actually make up who we are. We are so unique and at the same time so alike
I'm
everyone
going to be
else.
really honest with all of you. I recorded a video already that seemed to not want to make its way to my computer. I mean, it said it would take like literally 12,000 hours. I was like, you know what? I can take a hint from the universe. I can take a hint. Sometimes I can't take very subtle hints from the universe. Sometimes it needs to be a little more blatant. But I can take it. So I said, okay, you know what? Would have loved to share. I mean, I can just recap it for you. I was basically just talking about the things I'm listening to, watching, and eating, thinking about, and how it kind of like. The thing with that video that I recorded, though, it's just so beautifully all worked out that everything I talked about somehow went back to the main point I was trying to communicate. But maybe the point here is that you don't need to hear me talk for 1 hour about the things I'm enjoying recently to get the main point of what I was trying to say. So, yes, I'm just gonna. I've been told that when I try to explain things, it's too roundabout. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Cut to the rising action climax of what I want to say, and then we can just chit chat about it after. Okay. I've been thinking about how, well, to put it, see, here I go again. What is she gonna, we have no idea. Okay, to put it into the context just a little bit. Hello, frizzy hair. After becoming a mom, and I don't want you to turn away here hearing the words mom, okay? Maybe you are a parent, maybe not. And I feel like it's so like uncool on the internet to be like, I'm a mom, unless you're trying to get into very specific niches of the internet, which I am not. I'm not here to like be a mommy vlogger. But it is a part of my life, so I feel like it's just I have to talk about it, but it's not all going to be about being a mom. This was just the catalyst for what I'm thinking about. So don't turn away if you're like, oh, moms. I have enough mom in my life. That's not what's happening here. Anyway, becoming a mom completely changed my sense of self, and not in relation to my child. That's not what I'm talking about, because that is a whole other, we're not going there. What I'm talking about is it changed my relationship to myself, and that is what I'm really trying to explore right now. And I feel like it's still relatable even if you aren't a mom or you're not a parent, because we all go through life changes, maybe something like, a new job or moving cities, or just not feeling the same way you used to, or friendships changing, whatever. Like, we are always constantly evolving. It doesn't need to be something so drastic as, a new person on the earth coming into your life. And I've just been thinking about like, I used to be so sure of my sense of self. I knew all the good restaurants. I listened to a certain type of music. I dressed a certain way. And when those things are kind of like not relevant to your life for a certain amount of time, I mean, even after the pandemic, I feel like this is maybe way more relevant to a lot of people, because after the pandemic, it's like so much changed and we had to readapt to stuff. So once all those things are like taken away from you, or not relevant anymore, or just aren't a part of your life, who are you? Who are you after that? Are you like your personality traits? Well, personality traits can change. I used to be a lot more outgoing. I'm not so much anymore. I used to be a lot more like I don't know, a lot of things that's just not the way. So if you're not your personality trait, like, who are you? And I don't have the answer to that, but I'm trying to like just explore this idea a little bit more. Like, I think so far what I've come to the conclusion is that we are all those tiny, tiny details. Like, that is what makes us us. And at the same time, we are just, none of those things matter, but they do matter. You know, like, we are so unique from each other. Like, everyone is so unique, but we're also so similar. Yeah, so I just want to like explore this idea a little bit. This is also me coming from a place of like not really having friends that live anywhere close to where I do. So I've become very, I don't feel like kind of isolated. Like, I have a job, I work 40 hours a week, but I don't go to the office. But, I don't feel lonely because I have my family, but there's just this outside piece I think that I'm missing now, that I really am trying to begin a journey of finding again. So I'm hoping this also keeps me accountable. Like, I want to go to classes or do activities and stuff, which can be like scary to start. Even there's a gym across the street from me, and I'm like even scared to just like go to a class or go to the gym by myself. And then comes the fact that I'm like exhausted all the time. So how do I decide that that is what's like most beneficial to me, even though I know in my mind that going out and doing new things is what's like gonna be, and being active will in the long run be the most beneficial thing to me. And another piece is that this applies to parents, but it applies to anyone who is in a relationship with anybody, friendships, whatever. This like I forget where I first heard this, but it's the advice that like taking care of yourself is the best thing you can do for someone else. And like, I think we all know those people who like don't really take care of themselves on that fundamental level, and you just like worry about them, like, are they fine? And they're like not fine, but you can't like take care of them on that deep level the way they need to take care of themselves. And it's like parents, like the best thing a parent can do for a child is to take care of themselves, to have their own friendships and to have their own hobbies and to have a life, yeah. So all those things are running around this little pinball machine up here. And it also was like just compounded by the fact that in my neighborhood is a new like amazing restaurant. It's actually the second restaurant, like my favorite restaurant in the city opened finally, a second location, and it happens to be in my buildings, like crazy. And it's been open for a month, and every day on Instagram I was looking, like wanting to go, but I couldn't because they were only open from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. and it just didn't work out. And so I was just every day like, oh my gosh, just thinking like this isn't like right for me, because the me I know would have been there like opening day and then been there at least once a week, because when a restaurant opens, it's like they are trying new things. They don't really have a menu yet. Usually they're just experimenting, and you get to try like the real raw, yes, they do sell sushi. They do serve sushi there, but that's the real like raw ideas of what they have before they kind of get into the rhythm. And every day I can see it from my balcony, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like who am I if I'm not the person who goes to restaurants, like new amazing restaurants on the opening day? Who am I then? I don't know. So then I've just been thinking a lot about like what I'm watching and listening to and reading. I can do a quick list for you. Okay, animes, Apothecary Diaries. This was another thing because I always like told myself I have to watch it in Japanese, and because it's obviously the best way to do it, but I cannot sit and read for that long. So I just stopped watching anime, even though I love it. But so I finally this week decided, I was like, okay, you know what? You're going to get a free trial of Crunchyroll and you're going to see how much you watch anime. But let yourself do the English dubbing. So I started with Apothecary Diaries. I haven't finished it yet, but I really, really like it. And I also like how it's like mostly female driven, the characters, and how there is like an overarching plot, but each episode is kind of like its own little mystery. And the art is beautiful. The characters are really interesting. It's set in a fictitious imperialist Chinese city. Yeah, it's really good. Okay. Being a working mom, that's a whole other thing. I'm just reading down my list, actually. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, okay. So for podcasts that I'm listening to, what's really been just giving me life is Brittany Broski. Like, God bless her and her accents, her screaming off the mic, her own struggle with growing up religious, her obsessions with things, her meeting Pedro Pascal, and just making me feel like it's okay to be a fangirl, because you know what? It is. It is. And it's fun. And it's not that serious, but it's so serious when you're like obsessed with something. So I really appreciate her. And she led me on to a podcast that just started, which is called Obsessed with Brooke. I forget her last name. But I just want to say, like, what an amazing podcast title. Like, because it's about being obsessed with people, things, fandoms, whatever. But when you say it all together, it's like obsessed with Brooke. Like, I am obsessed with Brooke. Chef's kiss. Okay. Gotten into the H3 podcast a little bit more. Oh, I watched Saltburn. And I've been thinking a lot, speaking of obsessions, I've been thinking a lot about this picture of him from the, I guess it was like, I found it on Reddit. It's like the behind the scenes photos some of the cast posted or something, but he is so baby girl. He's so baby girl. He is baby girl. Like, just the way he's like, so cute. That movie, you know, okay, I want to talk about this also, because on this Obsessed podcast with Brooke, I forget her last name, she made a tier system of how obsessed you are with something. And the top tier is that you are so obsessed with something that you just cannot engage. And I feel like that is me with this movie Saltburn. I watched it once and a half and I just cannot engage anymore, because I felt myself being like, I just cannot engage anymore. So I had to pull away. I had to pull back. I'm an astrology girly. So the last 15 years, Pluto has been going through Capricorn. And if you're born around the same like time period as me, probably you have a lot of planets in Capricorn. And what that means is that every time, like as Pluto was going through Capricorn, it was like lining up with these planets, and every time it lines up with these planets, it's the themes of Pluto is like affecting these planets. So Pluto rules like death, destruction, and rebirth and mystery. So just the last 15 years of just so many these themes hitting like so many areas of my life. And now finally Pluto has moved its way into Aquarius. And Aquarius is like the free thinker, always on their own lane, miles ahead of everyone else. If you think of like the age of Aquarius, that's what that is. And honestly, it's felt like a breath of fresh air. There was also like, I think also the new moon tomorrow is in Aquarius. There's a lot of like Aquarian energy around, and I just feel so free. It just feels so much lighter. So I need to like browse LinkedIn for my job, and I came across a search engine journal article about how the programming language Golang, I think it's called Golang, is really good for SEO. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I was like reading more about it, and then I was like, maybe I should learn a programming language. I'm a copywriter, by the way, but I was like, SEO, maybe I should learn a programming language. So of course the first thing I Google is Golang easy to learn? And you know what? Every article, you should learn Golang because it's easy to learn. Because it's by Google. The creators, there's like 3 guys who created it. Their main goal was to make it like less complicated, I guess. And so there's so much like documentation from Google. There is like things you can copy and paste. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, I had this revelation. I think it was on a Friday. I was like, I can become a programmer. Then I was browsing through Instagram, and there's this account I follow. I think it's called Y2K 2006, and they just post like 2000s throwbacks. And they had a post with a bunch of music videos that came out in 2011. First of all, it shocked me the variety that was there and the things I never realized were existing on the same timelines in 2011. There was Lana Del Rey. I think it was Blue Jeans or Summertime Sadness. I don't know. One of those two. There was like 2 Katy Perry songs, probably a Lady Gaga song, and I forget a few others. But then there was this Britney song. I was like, wait, I had no idea that Britney Spears released an album in 2011. Where was I? And then I remembered that I was like so far up Tumblr's ass. And I was like such an indie girl in 2011, still am, that I was just like listening to so much Lana Del Rey, Lizzie Grant, okay? If you were listening to Lizzie Grant, then you know. If you know, you know. And these kind of things, like Sufjan, of course. And I remember actually I had listened to a Britney Spears album at that time, and I had like put in my headphones and I was like, oh, Britney, I haven't thought about her in so long, listened to her in so long. I wonder what her music is like now. And I just remember going through, listening to it and being like, this is bad. I don't like this. First of all, how embarrassing for me to have thought that, because when I listen to it now, one of the this was the album in this post, because everyone in the comments was like, Femme Fatale was amazing. So I was like, I gotta look up this Femme Fatale. Probably one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life now, because I can appreciate the like EDM dance aspects. And I was reading that she just like, her goal was to make like a fun dance album, and she did it. But in the vocals of that, there's just also some like sadness. I don't know, there's a layer under there. It's just like there's some feeling. And so I've been listening to that a lot lately. Putting these 2 things together. Let me pull out the notes app of my phone. Gotta be quick. Notes. Yes. So I wrote a little note called Changing, because these 2 things just kind of like lit something up in me. So, okay, I said, today I realized I can become a Golang developer and make EDM music. I don't need to be a sad indie girl copywriter. And that was honestly mind-blowing to me, as I've been thinking about like a time where I barely wear anything from my clothes, because they just, one, I'm home a lot, so I'm wearing like, sweatshirts, which love them. But I just, used to put so many like outfits together. I used to just care so much about what I wear. And I feel like none of my clothes even just like fit my style either, of like what I want to be. And I don't even know what my style is like. I can't tell you now how many months I've just been like adding outfits to my Pinterest board, hoping that I will just unlock some kind of like aesthetic for myself, because I have no idea. Like, do I just go to the store and like look at the mannequins and just buy that? Like, that's so sad. Like, I used to put so much effort into what I like was curating in my closet, and after like being home a lot for the pandemic and then becoming a mom, like I just don't wear those clothes anymore. And my style has changed, actually. So all of those things, it's just like, we change and we are not our interests. We are not what we do. Because if you look at those two things, like if I told you, oh, I have a friend, she's a programmer, she's a developer, and she loves EDM music. And then I have another friend, she's a copywriter, and she loves indie music. In your mind, those are two different people, two completely different people. But within me, I contain the person who would like to be both of those, And, I'm beginning to think just now as I'm talking about this that maybe I'm having some kind of like quarter life. It's not even, maybe quarter life crisis, midlife crisis. I think my quarter life crisis was a few years ago, but some kind of like identity crisis. I don't know. I just really want to explore this idea of like, who are we? Also, another podcast I love, or used to love, I don't know, is Pete Holmes, You Made It Weird. And he talks about this concept a lot, which I never am able to say it the same way he is. But he always says, like, when you are thinking to yourself or talking to yourself in your brain, who is the one that's listening? Who is it inside that's listening? And who is that? I don't know. Is it ourselves? Is it our consciousness? Is it like something else? I don't know, but I'm trying to explore that more. Yeah, I've started making music again. I just wanted to come on here and kind of talk about those things because I can't be the only one who is just struggling. Also, I love to recommend things I'm listening to and watching, so if you would enjoy a video that is literally just me going through the podcasts I like or going through the shows I watch or anything like that, please tell me and I will happily make lists and just come here and share those with you. Because I've been listening to podcasts like forever. I can tell you other ones I'm loving right now is Best Friends with Nicole Byer and Sashir Zameda. That's another one. You know what? Let's open up the podcast app while we're here. Sibling rivalry with Bob and Monet from Drag Race. Also, what's it called with Trixie and Katya? Bald and the Beautiful. Savage Love Cast for love and sex advice. You Made It Weird for some like spiritual stuff, just life stuff. Doughboys, if you are like a fan of comedy and fast food, that is a good one. Bold and Beautiful. Oh, Chani, if you are into astrology, I recommend, at least if you don't have her app, at least just listening to her podcast every month, Astrology of the Week Ahead. Let's see, what else? This American Life. Like, if you've never listened to This American Life, just go back to like the first 400 episodes. Oh my gosh. Why Won't You Date Me with Nicole Byer. Yeah. Those are... Don't Ask Tig. It's ended now, but it's with Tig Notaro. And there's some like great... It's like basically advice. I love... My favorite kind of podcasts are either comedy, two friends talking, or like advice. If you know, you know. One day maybe we'll find out what happened here. Probably never. Okay, so if you are here still, can you just like say hi in the comments or something? Because I want to know like what's going on. That's all. Are you fine? Thank you for sitting here and chatting with me. I hope you've had a great start to your year. Remember that while it is a new calendar year, the astrological also, but the seasonal new year starts in March when spring starts. So if you feel like the year is getting off to a slow start, you are not alone, and it's not really, this is still winter. We're still in winter. If you are in the I have to look up to know what direction I'm thinking about, northern hemisphere. If there's anything I talked about that you would like me to talk about more, please also let me know. I hope you're having a fantastic week wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for stopping by Polymath Library. Bye.